There's so many things that we've seen that are like, okay, that makes me want to inch a little closer or try it again or do it again. You know, there's that like, you know, spark of like, oh, I cannot explain how that happened.
What's the most profound one that you guys have experienced?
I mean,
besides Queen Mary?
There's both, like in like individual experiences that have been insane. Like for me, for example, I went in Texas. Actually, there was a spot called Bowers Mansion. I don't know what city it was in.
It was a small
town in Texas, and this was one of these spots where nobody has ever investigated, or with just like a handful of people. So we were going to be like the first YouTubers to really investigate and like put it on the map. And it had to deal with like, I think it was like a murder-suicide. Some guy like killed his wife and then shot himself. And we're trying to like, especially this year and in the future, try to just put ourselves in more scary situations, so it never, you know, it's always like exciting and stuff like that. And so we're trying to do like more like alone challenges and stuff, and just things that like give us more fear. And so for this specific one, I had the challenge of like staying in the entire like mansion by myself, and I was on the top floor in like a room which was deemed to be like the most haunted. Apparently a guy named like Bernard had lived there like in the past, and basically was like stuck in a wheelchair his entire life and stayed in that room and would like only look out the window, and that's it. And he died, and apparently still in the room. And so I'm up there, and Sam is not even in the house. I think you were actually in the cellar, and then one of our other buddies is like across the street. And earlier, before we all did like the alone investigation, the door as we were walking down the stairs of the Bernard room closed shut, and we were all like, wait, did you guys hear that too? Was that just my imagination? We run up there, it's completely shut. And so we obviously propped it back open, but since I knew that had happened before, I was just up there like asking questions to Bernard, and I was just like, all right, Bernard, if you're really up here, why don't you slam this door right behind me like you did for us earlier? It's just me and you. Do it. And sure enough, like the door slammed right behind me. It's like right when I turned.
So you're alone in
I'm
this
alone.
Mansion.
Yeah.
And you're talking to ghosts.
Yeah.
And you're asking the ghost to slam the door, and he
Literally.
slams the door.
And he slams right behind me.
And you're sitting there going, what the fuck?
Not sitting there.
Instantly.
Not sitting there.
Like I went into tears. Like, and it's all on camera. Like, I've never like gotten like super emotional like from going to these like haunted places, but it brought me to tears where I just immediately started walking. And of course, like this is our job. Like we want this stuff to happen.
Right.
But I've never had, it was almost more of like a jump scare that was startling than anything, because it was right behind me.
With the haunted farmhouse, and I've got
Is
a
it
book
haunted?
for you. Well, let me say that there's residual energy from the people who've lived there in the past. So you hear footsteps and voices and creaks and doors closing and that, and many people have had experiences in it. So
There's a
Michael,
reason
come
why
on.
people don't want to live in a house where people were murdered.
No one was killed in that farmhouse, but
Right, but-
many people passed there.
But even that that weirds people out. But absolutely, if you have a house where people were murdered, and this is why there's laws, you have to divulge.
I did. I had to divulge.
Did you?
It wasn't because of a murder, but when I sold our house in Los Angeles, we lived in Mama Cass's old estate on Woodrow Wilson Drive, and we sold it to Beverly D'Angelo, and she's been on the Celebrity Ghost Show talking about the spirits that were in that house.
What happens?
Jewelry will hop around on the table, shapes will be seen, you'll feel a touch in the shoulder, that kind of thing. The staff felt it. And I had an experience one night where something got into bed with me. I was alone. I don't know what went on there, but I just figured,
Sexually?
well, in my...
A little bit. You fucked a ghost?
I think I was being come on to there, but anyway,
This is a YouTube clip. Right now,
house,
Dan Aykroyd fucked a ghost.
Well, or it did try to come on to me, and I didn't refuse its.
So you
its
resisted?
wanton. You know what? I just snuggled up next to it and went to sleep.
You spooned with it.
I did. I felt a shape. I looked and saw the depression in the I saw the depression in the mattress, and I felt a shape, something next to me, like felt a form next to me, and
Were you hammered?
I nuggled. No, not that night. I was working on a picture and went to bed early. But
So
I was alone in the house.
you're laying alone in bed, and you're working on a film.
I'm lying there.
What film was it?
It was something that I've been working down at Universal. I don't know, maybe Dragnet or something like that.
Okay, so you're working on Dragnet. You're lying in bed, and then there's like a weight next to you.
I feel a weight next to me. I turn and I look.
like a person is laying.
I
in bed.
saw the depression. There were two. Yes, and there were two spirits that might have been there. Maybe Mama Cass herself, although she died in London. And then there was another guy that apparently a rumor was he died of a drug overdose at a party, and they buried him in the hillside.
Oh.
And my daughter saw him walking with a little red-haired girl down the hall once, and you know, we think that he might have been there. But anyway, when we sold the house to Beverly, there was a right in the California real estate document that we had to sign.